Whoa. Whoa. It's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth for another edition of Sober Wednesday. We're going to deal with shadows today. Fourth, fifth step stuff. Time to clear house on all that dark energy lurking around in there. And so we're here. Sober Wednesday is an hour once a week dedicated to those who are suffering. Those who are suffering mental health issues, depression, suicidal thoughts, overeating, gambling, debt, alcohol, drugs, whatever's getting between you and God. This hour is dedicated to you, so you have a place to come, a place to share information, a place to get a hold of each other, whatever it is you need to do. And so that's what we're here for 1 hour. Welcome, everybody. Got New Zealand in the house. And with that said, we use these preamble. Okay, the preamble is, like I said, this is dedicated to anyone who's suffering, whatever it is, whatever sort of mental malady you have, spiritual malady, addiction, whatever it is. This hour is for you. The 12 steps we talked about are basically the 12 steps to Alcoholics Anonymous, though this is not an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. This is not any sort of anonymity over here. This is to broadcast the message of solution. And with that said, I ask that those on the that are going to chime in on the chat keep the airwaves open to those who are looking for a place to land, who may be suffering. Dazzer 80, free from heroin for past 13 years. That's no joke. Congratulations. Yeah, Leggy Meggies. Can't tell you put into words how much better I feel from drugs and alcohol. Yeah, same here. Be kind to the chat. No sauce talk, no politics. Yeah, thank you, Kimmy. And yeah, we just kind of keep it on focus here. So, like I said, I pulled from the how it works from the 12 steps Alcoholics Anonymous. That's my template that I've worked to get me closer to God. Again, most of these situations, it's just about getting closer to God and removing these things that are interfering with your journey towards God. So with that said, I like to start it with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Oh, the wisdom to know the difference. That is the challenge, isn't it? So, with that said, we will read Chapter 5 from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, How It Works, on page 58. Chapter 5, How It Works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to the simple program, usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, but the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for his knowledge, for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I cannot go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we are alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he were sought. So there it is. That's the basic template of how it works. This is it's how it works, man. It seems complicated, but it's hard, man. It's hard because it is about being thoroughly honest with yourself. And I think that is that's the whole deal across the board. The whole thing, the whole enchilada across the board, right, is being thoroughly honest with yourselves. And so, once you've made a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understood him, step 3, right? You've admitted you're powerless, your life's unmanageable, that you're slightly insane, and then you turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand him. Well, once you do that, there's no need to wait around. There's no need to wait around. So 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. A fearless and searching moral inventory of ourselves. It's where the rubber meets the road, really. Can you really sit and account for yourself? Can you account for what makes you tick, your actions, your responses to things, and allow yourself to be in that state of vulnerability, right? So if you've turned your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand them, you shouldn't fear this step, because God's right there with you. God is right there with you, helping you come to terms with yourself, right? Because you've gone to God, you've turned your will and your life over the care of God, your will and your life. So your will is your defiance, your inability to look at it, your fear to look at it. And all of this is fear, right? It really is all fear. And what you do is when you dig into yourself, it's clear why it's made a searching and fearless moral inventory, dude. Searching. It's not just the superficial stuff, which is the stuff that's on the top of your head, like, I've drunken bar fights or stealing sprees or just adultery, whatever it really is that that you've done. That's the surface level stuff's really the easy stuff. The searching and fearless moral inventory, that's where you searching. So you're digging deep, right? You're searching. You're not just looking, you're searching, just like you lost your car keys and you got to get to work. You're searching through your pockets, through your drawers, behind the couch, wherever you need to look. You're looking in all the cracks and crevices of your story, and part of that is to take a good look at what it is, because that fearless moral inventory, it also includes your responses, right? It includes your responses. See, things may have happened to you. Plenty of people, things have happened to them in their childhoods. Their bad things have happened. They've been the victim of perpetrators. Things have happened to people, right? And where the fearless and searching moral inventory takes place is your response to it, right? Because how you respond to these issues of life, well, if you've responded to them negatively with guilt and shame and lying and hiding and abusing other people or whatever it may be, that's pretty dark. So when you dig into that, when you go for the search, it really is to not blame. You're not looking to blame anybody. You're not looking to hold people hostage. You're looking to take account for your response to these things, because bad things happen to people all the time. And plenty of people haven't fallen victim to addictive behaviors. They've actually gone on to make productive lives. And one of those things that needs to it's funny, I just had a trippy thought about someone I met, right? Who had some really bad stuff happen to him, but they had made the choice not to be a victim, right? So it's that's where it is. That's part of the fearless searching moral inventory is the victim nature, the victim consciousness is really a dark place to occupy. And so it's easy to move through life and move through this program and be like, okay, like I looked at myself, I was a thief, I was a drug dealer, I was whatever, all these things. But again, when you really dig deep, the fearless searching moral inventory is getting down to the stuff of how you dealt with your story, your past. And for a lot of, for many of us, I didn't have a story that needed to go in and really be dealt with. They're pretty vanilla childhood, But other people I know, I have a friend recently, right? I had a friend recently with a bunch of sobriety, and that friend of mine, they they have this lingering thing from their past, and it's standard stuff, but it hurts, right? When you're a little child, divorce and all of these things are very traumatic to a child, right? And so they come, and especially if their parents are alcoholic or narcissistic or cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or whatever they are, they deal with these things because, many people have been thrown into many people's childhoods is being the parent to their parents. It's being the adult in the room at a young age. And that burden can be very traumatic to many people and have lasting waves in the thing. And so, yeah, it's pretty easy later in life to gloss that over and be like, nah, whatever. All right, I'll tell you one of mine, right? It's always good to share. So I was early sobriety, right? I was getting sober, and I used to hear around the rooms like, you haven't really earned your seat in the rooms in AA till you've done your fourth and fifth step. Do your fourth and fifth step, right? And the fourth and the fifth step seems to be the make or break, right? Because the fourth step is you turning your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand Him, as we understand Him, and then actually taking a deep look at yourself, which requires a lot of like searching and pain and all that kind of stuff. So I remember I was in that space between my third step and my fourth step. And I kept, I was working on my fourth step. I was doing the inventory and this and that. And I kept hearing the, and I remember I went to my spiritual advisor at the time, Joe. And I was like, Joe, what do you mean, man? I thought I earned my seat the minute I showed up. Everyone keeps saying you're not part of the thing till you've done your fourth and your fifth step. And all right, dude, you're on full, like you've already been like, look, dude, the basic rules are no caps. If you can't do that, like you're gonna get banned, Stashy, just so you're clear. And so I remember I was sitting there, no worries, Bethel. I got that one. Probation round. So we get so I got stuck in this place, right? And I remember I went to my spiritual advisor. I'm like, everybody keeps saying this. And he's like, well, what of it, dude? Like, well, maybe it's a sign that you're supposed to like do this part of it. You're wrap up your fourth and do your fifth, right? Because the fourth you can like linger in. And I know people who do it in like 24 hours and that kind of stuff. But he's like, maybe you should just finish up your fourth step. And I'm like, well, there's a bunch of like stuff that seems stupid in there, right? And he's like, do tell. What do you think's stupid in your fourth step? And since you're gonna play the games, you're fully just deleted, dude. And hang in there, Charlie. So
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah, bird.
I'm making a set with my gold ninja dragon, the good guy.
Yeah.
I'm making a big old green one.
All right, good for you.
Set.
Good for you.
And but the butterfly thing's for like something else.
Okay, yeah, hang on to that.
It's for a dinosaur set.
Okay, that's a good piece, right? All right. So
I put all the stuff that we need for all the things.
Yeah.
Put rocks in the tree pieces next to the church. Like
Okay.
us.
All right.
They put in the green piece and those two long ones. Are the two long ones for that garbage truck?
I think so. I don't know. Just go put those over there. So I was doing this thing and I was talking to him and we were hanging out and I was like, like I got dumb things on my list, like my parents arguing at Christmas about wrapping my presents. And he was like, it was funny. He was like, whoa, like, tell me more about this. Tell me more about this. Right. So when I was like a little guy, I must have been Owl's age. Maybe I was a little older. I don't remember. And it was like Christmas Eve, whatever. And my folks got into a big argument about wrapping my Christmas presents. Parents argue about nonsense all the time. I'm sure Owl sat and listened to me and his mom argue about stupidity all the time. So anyway, I was a little guy and I heard my parents arguing about wrapping something in my Christmas, whatever, and the whole thing. So there was like a big argument. I heard it, right? And whatever, you just file it away as a little guy. Well, so my whole life, I'm like I'm not down for Christmas. I don't like it. It's not my space. I don't enjoy it. I've grown to like love it with Owl because we dig into the baby Jesus part of it all. But so I'm with my spiritual advisor and he's like, let's dig in on that. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. He's like, well, let's see, dude. So we get into this thing and it really became this moment for me as a little human being where like the mythology was dispelled, the illusion was dispelled, the anger associated with supposedly a joyful evening and the next day, and it was like a whole thing, but it had really kind of done something in my psyche from that time forward in regard to this thing. And when we begin to do the work on it, right? You think you're like, oh, whatever. My parents had an argument about like wrapping my Christmas presents, like whatever, dude. I still like think it's ridiculous that but it's not, because that thing has been an underlying current through my life, right? In that sense of, due to that, I was very humbuggish, if you will, to many people's like Yuletide spirit, right? I was very anti-Christmasite through many years and probably, bad vibed a number of people in their merry way. And so when you took account of this thing, is this thing had always like, it's one of those things, dude. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. There's no victim to it, but what you get to do, why it's important, right? Having made a fearless and thorough moral inventory of it all, is because I get to go and do the forgiveness of it all. I get to do this thing where I get to make peace with it. So maybe for a long time in my life, like there was a victim nature to it. There was a whole story built around it. And when we did all this work, it was like, it sort of really freed me for that in that space. And again, is for my, it's funny because I can't even really explain like what a powerful space it was that I occupied with my spiritual advisor, pulling the thread on this thing that I thought was nothing. I thought it was stupid. I was like, because I remember being like, this is stupid. And he's like, no, we're diving in on this one. And so it really is digging into some of these things that have been markers in our story. Dude, no, that's garbage. Do not throw those on the ground. Put that in the garbage. Do not make a mess with those things, Bird, please. And so I think now Bingo Bongo's not violating the space here. I was sloppy with the sauce for decades. Yeah, me too, man. So again, is why we're doing a fearless search and thorough search is that many of us have issues that seem benign, but they have all sorts of power on us because they're like sort of like unresolved. There's sort of like grains of sand in your shoe, right? You never been walking around and you're like, oh, there's a rock in my shoe. And then you pull off your shoe and it's just some little teeny like rock. It's not like a giant rock. Like it's just a little teeny thing. It's like that. Like it's hard to walk in a straight line when you have a little teeny rock in your shoes. And that's what this fearless, thorough inventory is about, is getting all of these little rocks out of your spiritual shoes so that you can walk your straight line, so that you can go on your 10,000 mile journey with grace and dignity and not be encumbered by the stuff that's lurking around in your past. So it's very important to go dig in on this stuff. And it's not for you to decide it's stupid. That's why you have a spiritual advisor, a sponsor, someone you're doing this with. Because if it had been left to me, I probably would have been stuck in this space forever because I thought it was stupid. And it was only when we really dug into it that there was a lot of things I thought were stupid, which evolved to be less stupid than I thought and actually very important to my journey, And so that's why it's got to be a searching, right? Yeah, I get it, Bird. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. It's very important to like dig deep, search, baby. Search in the crevices of your psyche and get it out. Get the darkness out. Get all the trauma out, whatever it is. Get all of it out and just make peace with it. Because in step 5, right? In step 5, we get to give it away. We get to give it all back to God, right? Because God knows this. God was sitting right there with me on that Christmas Eve. God has been sitting with me in the entire time, right? So I need to give it back to God, and that's all God's waiting for me to do. It's like, here, give me back your lame moments and all of that stuff, so that I can hook you up with the new dream. So if you go to step 5, admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Again, our wrongs, yeah, there's the very 3-dimensional wrongs. Yeah. Right. So there was this, so me and my buddy, I don't care. So me and my buddy were drunk one night, and it was a New Year's Eve story. That's right. It was New Year's Eve. We were super hammered, and our other friends, lame, drunk, pickled, bad girlfriend, had wrecked her car, like gotten into an accident and had it dropped off in our driveway. I was living there at the time, and we didn't like her. She was bad egg. So we got hammered. Me and my buddy were getting hammered, and we're like, so like one side of the car was like, the front corner panel was smashed up, like a super nice car. And we got all pickled and went out there and like literally like broke off the other door of the car, like hammered, like did one of those, like bent it backwards and destroyed the car, like destroyed the door of the car. And I knew it was a bad move the next morning, right? And so I get sober, and this is on my list, right? This is more of an amends process, but like this had come up in my 5th step, right? And so I bumped into this girl, and I was like, hey, like I got to talk to you about something. And she's like, what? And I go, she was just getting sober finally, dude. She had a real problem. And she was in the rooms, and she was doing her thing. And I go, hey, like I gotta like own up to something. Your car. She's like, yeah, the one that I totaled that was in your driveway. I go, yeah. I go, I was the one who like destroyed the other side of it. I destroyed. She's like, I knew you guys had done that. Like, I knew it was me and my friend. I knew it was you guys who did that. And it was like, we had this moment, right, where it was like, she's like, I get it. And she's like, thanks for like owning it. And we're all on the journey of like trying to get our lives back together. But look, why I'm saying this, right, is step 5 is after we've made a certain, that was like a superficial thing, right? We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of a wrong. See, I can admit the exact nature of my wrongs to myself all day long. Like I live inside of me. I know exactly what the nature of my wrongs are. Where the rubber meets the road on this one is, again, admitted to God. Well, God already knows, right? So you've already turned your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand it. I don't know about the herb thing, dude. I don't know how you, like, again, it's like, I don't, the herb thing is you got to make your own, you got to talk to your sponsor about that stuff, dude, and see what they have to say. I don't know, man. That's not for me to figure out, but if you have to, the answer is in your question. It's that, see, again, as bingo bango, the DOC, the drug of choice, was escape. It's never been like, again, look, the drug of choice was escaping the powerlessness and unmanageability. That's the insanity. That's just a practice of insanity. It's escapism. A little toke here. Why do you need a toke? It's legal, whatever. Like, I couldn't imagine like a toke. And I'm a pro, dude. I'm pro, like all of it, dude. I don't come from the anti school of thought with it. What I'm getting at is, what are you escaping? Why would you need to smoke the herb, right? Is to escape the pain and suffering of life, the discomfort, I don't know, whatever, right? So that said, it's that thing. Have you really done your step work? Have you really admitted your powerlessness and unmanageability? It sounds like you're still trying to manage it through herbs. And how do you really make amends when you have a mind-altering substance? That's just my take on it. Again, go talk to your sponsor about it, dude, and see what they have to say. And if your sponsor co-signs it and it's all on, that's not for me to decide. I think there's I'm pretty yeah, Stosh, but this isn't the right chat for that kind of stuff, dude. I don't know. We're pretty clear where we're at with all this stuff. I thought my thoughts and my mind just to go back to that. When I think When I take edibles, I have more thought discussions to myself. I'm also in a way of escaping the isolation I'm going through currently. It's all, Tristan, that's a con job, dude. Like that, the first part of your sentence is leading to the second part of your sentence, dude. Like, just listen to it. Just play this back. I think when I take it, and I'm not blowing you up in a negative, this is a great example of what the mind does to trick you into submission of the lower frequency reality, dude. This is what we're trying to free ourselves of. So, Tristan, you've put it on blast perfectly. I think when I take edibles, I have more thought discussions to myself. I'm also in a way of escaping the isolation of I'm going through currently. So just to deconstruct that a little bit. When I take the edibles, I have more thought discussions to myself. So you're taking, by your own admission, a drug that causes you to sit and babble to yourself in your own mind. Self-talking mind. You're trying to not be in the self-talking mind. Again, the goal of sobriety is to not live in the self-talking mind. The self-talking mind is the insanity, the unmanageability, dude. It's really trying to get yourself to stop living there and understand that that's not who you really are. So you've chosen to take a mind-altering substance that keeps you stuck in the perpetual self-talking mind. And then the trick that drug is using is to make you think that you're escaping your isolation. Do you see it? Like, do you see it? Like that's the trick. It's the whole concept of, like, I remember seeing the t-shirt when I was first sobriety out. Freedom doesn't come in a bottle. Freedom doesn't come in a bottle. It was like, oh, I thought the whole time that because I was drinking and I was a free soul and I'm doing my own thing and, like, yeah, and F the man and the whole thing, that I was free. I didn't realize that the reason I wasn't free was this thought that I thought I was free by ingesting substances into my body. That's what we're getting past. The right and the wrong, like, that's not for me to say. I'm just trying to explain that, like part of the journey is getting past the concept of isolation and loneliness, dude. Because you can't be, if you've turned your will and your life over the care of God as we understand him, right? So that implies that God's caring for you, which implies that you're not alone. And what I will assure you is, one of the greatest gifts you can get if you do this thing, following the steps, and you really get into it, is you get to go through that whole concept and get on the other side. I'll finish up this story, my other thing I was talking about. One of the great gifts I got was that whole, I used to sit my, like, second year of sobriety. I used to sit outside my little stoop. I was a full YouTuber by then. I used to sit outside my little stoop and smoke my American spirits, and I would look up at the stars in the evening. I was a super lonely guy, right? And you can go look at those videos. I talked about it pretty openly. And I would sit there and I'd be like, God, if you truly loved me, you wouldn't have me here alone. You wouldn't let me be lonely. I need someone. And then I went through the process of learning to love myself and learning not to listen to the self-talking mind, learning not to run from myself, learning not to escape myself, and learning to make peace with myself, learning to truly accept myself for who I am. And then I like 9 months later, I was living with my buddy at the time. I moved into his place, and he's at the time, like, the most eligible bachelor, dude. Mr. in the scene eligible bachelor. And he used to bring by all these girls all the time, and he would be like, I got one for you. And I would be like, it's cool. I don't need anybody. I don't want anybody in my life. I literally want to just sit here and do my art and listen to what I was listening to. And I'm good. I'm good. And he used to trip. He would be like, you don't want one of these hot chicks I brought over? And I'd be like, I'm good, dude. Like, what am I going to do with it? Like, what would I do with it? At that time, I was literally like, what would I do with it? Like, get all carnal on it? Like what? Like, have it hang out? And like, I was so content with being with myself that I was like, I don't need any of those. And because I didn't need any of that distraction in my life, I was able to actually like let my wife walk into my life, because she had been in the background the whole time. And all of a sudden she showed up and she was like, you're coming with me. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. You get what I'm saying? So Tristan, that's what we're at. The loneliness is a con job produced by the edibles you're eating, just so you know, because if you were rolling with God, because edibles not in the God. Wait, so let me see. Joel's journey. Appreciate you for inspiring me to go back to school. Right on, Joel. Just don't take on any debt. Whatever you do, Joel, just don't take on any debt. Tristan's listening, so you're right there. So yeah, that's the thing. And again, is the self-talking mind, man, is that's really what you're finding. And again, I advise you that one of the things we're experiencing in this time code right now is the overabundance of self-talking mind. The mind, Dad, they're coming for me. Sauce, no sauce. Dad, I gotta bone that chick. I gotta take this thing off my face. It's talking. Oh, that person there. Blah, 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 blah. Dude, the self-talking mind's on steroids right now. Just blah, 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 blah. And then if I truly do it right, it's the mundane tasks. It was, I got tuned up for this thing tonight. I literally shouldn't use literally so much, but I just cleaned up the chicken poop. I got out my shovel. I did some sweeping. I got into a mindless task where I let the self-talking mind just babble, and I was just busy sweeping things up. Again, that's why, Neil Kramer and a lot of these spiritual people will tell you that the secret to it all is getting into mundane tasks and allowing the self-talking mind to just chatter itself into silence, dude. Because eventually the self-talking mind just talks itself out of like your ears. That's what meditation's all about. And for me, I don't know how to meditate. I get out my art and I do it with my art. So thanks, Bingo Bango. Thanks for the insight. I was off the cannabis for ages, then kind of broke towards the Chiba. I've been telling myself it's making me more honest. Probably not. No. What I would, Bingo Bango, the person I was talking about recently, that was the thing, the same story. And what I would tell you is if you dig into that discomfort where the cannabis is, if you get really thorough and honest and pull the thread on it, there's some sort of unfinished business. That's what it's trying to signal you. It's trying to tell you that, what? No, it's not. I'm going to make dinner when I'm done in 15 minutes, okay? Yeah, I finish at 7:30. You know that. Timekeeper. 7:30, I'll be done. You can come tell me. So if you pull on that thread, there's something in there that you're masking. That's why you're using the herbal thing is because you're masking. It's all layers of digging into yourself. All right. So boom, Tristan. I suppose that depends on how mindful the individual is. If I was full of it and knowing intense thought activity, that would be a problem. My thoughts entertain me. It again is I'm just pointing out, like, yeah, sure, dude, they chuckle you, but that's why you're lonely. Like, again, is the reason that you're self-medicating is because the medication has convinced you that you're not alone, because your thoughts are entertaining, dude. How about you probably have, I have far more entertaining thoughts. Stone colds. I used to buy into the whole, dude, you're talking to a dude who was like a huge, everybody needs to, I was like a Toe Rogan type of pot act guy, dude, for most of my adult life till I till the pot turned on me at 39. But I used to think I was getting all sorts of data. But I'll tell you what, man, on this side of the coin, dude, once you realize like how you weren't entertaining yourself, when you find out what the real depth of your own mental entertainment is, you'll be like, why was I playing? Look, I'll tell you this. It's the equivalent of making sandcastles in a sandbox, right? Or being the architect of the universe. So drugs, alcohol, the weed. Ooh, dude, I'm super creative in the sandbox. Look at me. Like I made this rad, like, you know, lobster sandcastle in the sandbox. Look, I made a mermaid in the sandbox. I'm so creative in the sandbox. And then when you get past all that, you realize that sobriety and a clear mental spiritual thing allows you to be the architect of the universe. So it's really that scaling. It's a scaling issue. It's like, yeah, if you're happy playing in the sandbox and hoping you don't dig up like a cat poo, like good for you. But sobriety offers you the ability to be the architect of the universe with God's grace and blessings. So what do you want to do with yourself? Do you want to play in a sandbox eating edibles? Or do you want to be sober with God, like creating your own universe, dude? So that's more where I'm at with the whole thing, dude. And all right, so schools are teaching children to self-talk to cope with problems. Yeah, don't do that, dude. I see what you're saying, but I think it's been factually recorded that being stuck in isolation, lackluster routine. Well, don't stick yourself in isolation? Like that's a choice, dude. Like even if you read that, you've chosen to be in isolation. Like unless you're like there's no way you're not, unless you're literally sitting, you wouldn't have a Wi-Fi signal. The mere fact you have the Wi-Fi signal means that you have the ability not to be in isolation. You can walk out the door and go do something, but you're too stoned is what I'm getting at in the thing, you know? Where are we? Oh yeah, sure. I haven't done it that much lately, but it's helped me sort of. All right. Well, it's hard to have a discussion in this format. It's more or less. See that. All right. So you've whatever you've turned. I didn't say what you wanted to hear, dude. So now you're like, oh, let's get into this. It's hard to have a discussion in this format. Yeah, by its very nature. The fact I'm even sitting here yeah, and it's more or less me babble show, which no, I'm fully addressing your thing, and which is exactly what you were accusing me of doing in a negative light. See, it's you just want it your way. Like, sorry, like I'm not gonna co-sign your bullshit, dude. Like, if you're gonna come at me like that. See that you're full, like you're like it, like you want it both ways now. Now I'm annoyed. Like, don't bring it up if you don't want my honest take on it, dude. If you want to stay in your sandbox and hope you don't bump into a cat poo, dude, and tell yourself I don't care, dude. Like I don't care. Like it's up to you, dude. Like good luck with that. Stay in your little cell, dude, and just like. Again, I'm not here to like tell you what you want to hear. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you would actually heard what I was saying, you'd be like, oh wow, I've been there, done that, dude. Like again, like been there, done that. Sat on top of that mountain back there with empty swimming pools with the same thought pattern going on. Yeah. So whatever. I stay with the plant. We're constantly bombarded with frequency. All right, wait, what are we cutting on to here? When the weed runs out, narky vibe comes. I stay with the plant. We're constantly bombarded with frequency, talk with frequencies, and I feel cannabis helps my operating frequencies to. It's just like I get it. Like I guess like we're not. This isn't like for like people to explain why they need that their escape mechanism. This is really for people that are trying to not escape themselves. Like, great. Like, yeah, you can't handle reality. Smoke some weed, dude. What do you want me to tell you, dude? Like, yeah, it's not going to change it, dude. It just makes you just have to sit and wait for it that much longer. So I don't get it, but whatever. See, you're laying Tristan, dude. You're laying trips on me. It's got nothing to do with like, don't you preach forgiveness? We're not even in a space like that. I don't. Again, like, what does this have to do with forgiveness, dude? You came off like an a-hole because I didn't tell you what you wanted to hear, and that's it. There's nothing to be forgiven, dude. Like, you didn't get the answer you wanted, and now you're backtracking because you want to hang on to your crutch. Like, okay, dude, I'm not a weed addict, dude. You literally ran some. You decide what you are. I don't care. No, it's not. No, we're no, it's 7. We're 6 minutes out, dude. So anyway, enough with that, dude. Literally, dude, like there's real stuff going on out there. Like, yeah, just smoke all the weed you want. Like, that's what Joe Rogan's for, dude. Like, go smoke with my blessing with Joe the Toe. He'll tell you that you need to take some DMT too, and like, see, that's what I mean. Is like we were really kind of getting somewhere, and then like the script got flipped into this whole thing about like, I don't care. There's people like truly suffering out there. Like, if you want to suffer, dude, you can do that too, dude. If the weed's not a problem, then it's not a problem. But even the people that are mentioning it, it sounds like it's an issue. So I don't know, dude. You wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't an issue. Like, don't look at me. I have no skin in your game. I'm literally just sharing my experience, strength, and hope, dude. So with that said, as we do approach the closing bell of the thing, and I don't preach, dude. This is not what this is, dude. I'd have a lectern. I'd have a pulpit, dude. It's me just spending an hour with people that are suffering, dude. That's it. It's super simple, dude. I don't care what people do. Like, you do get that. Like, you go stick edibles in your ears for all I care, dude. Just, put a feather in your hat and call it macaroni. I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect my life in the slightest, dude. So if you want to get out of your self-perpetual circle of whatever, it doesn't sound very fun to me, dude, but whatever. Who am I to, like, I don't care. Anyway. It's therapy for others, dude. That's great. Look, Tristan, you got to understand, like, I deal with this wishy-washiness all the time. You know what it is it's the wishy-washy. There's one thing I like either lukewarm gets spit out like a thing. And I don't mean that like in a negative thing. It's the wishy-washy of like, I want to know what you want to, like, tell me what you think. And then it's like, nah, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Keep me in my small box. Please justify my small box. And I go, that's not what I do. And it's got I don't need to, you did nothing. There's nothing to forgive here. It's literally like a live stream. I don't know what you're looking at. Like, all right, Zach's weed is a good escape, but it shouldn't replace any emotions, which is what most people let it do. Again, is look, there's not a weed store on every block because it's your friend, dude. I'll just tell you that, dude. When the government gets behind it, ask some questions. But we're moving into a different space here. So again, is at least grow your own, dude. Anyway, look, man, if you're suicidal, dude, call someone, dude. There's suicide prevention lines. Just call the suicide hotline, please. Like, that's really what this hour was dedicated for. So yeah, if you need to go eat some edibles before blowing your head off, I highly suggest that. That is a solution, dude. We way rather have you alive with a problem than dead with no problem. You know what I mean? So it's that sort of a thing, dude. So don't get too tripped out, Tristan. It's not that big of a deal, dude. I'm not going to eat any edibles tonight, so I'm not even worried about it, dude. So we're all good on that level. And for those who are suffering, no, I did budgie. What does budgie mean? No, I did budgie. What do you mean, Tristan? No, I did budgie. It's fine that you don't understand why, though. Exactly. This is like it's an open discussion, dude. Like, yeah. Gotcha, Tristan. Yeah, dude, it's all good, man. Like I said, like, no harm, no foul, man. No harm, no foul. But with that said, look, dude, if you're struggling with drugs and alcohol, you can call AA Central Office wherever you are, US of A, and someone will be there, pick up the phone and help you get there. And if you're not struggling, and it's no big deal. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If it's not a problem, it's not a problem, dude. But it's kind of like that weird thing. If you need to ask if it's a problem, it might be a problem. I don't know. Look, dude, this is like the only like thing that's self-diagnosed, right? You got to figure it out for yourself. That's the rub. And let me tell you, dude, is the layers of confusion and smoke and mirrors in the mind-altering substance camp is immense, dude. And don't downplay it, dude. That's all I'm saying, Tristan. That just there's probably more for you than you understand out there, because the edibles will keep you locked in Edibleville, dude. So with that said, is good night. I forgot. I brought up not asking if it were a problem, just adding to the subject of taking weed. Well, that's my take about the weed thing. I think it's a hoax, dude. I really do. I think it's a total hoax. But just talk to a dude who smoked weed I smoked weed from the time I was 13 to the time I was basically 40, dude. I'm an expert at smoking weed. Just so we're fully like clear, like I'm a 100% certified professional weed smoker. And I'll tell you at the end of the day, what it got me. Nothing. Zero. I smoked the best. I grew the best. I dude, I used to make my own edibles, dude. I've done all of that weed stuff, dude. And I'll tell you, at the end of the day, nothing. Sobriety is the old. You want to get stoned? Get sober, man. Get sober and learn to live with yourself and love yourself and be solid with yourself. If you get what I'm saying, man, it's a good time. I couldn't imagine being stoned dealing with all this nonsense that is this reality we're sharing. But with that said, God bless, good night, and we'll see you at the next sign. And Tristan, nice conversation. I fully appreciate the conversation, dude. That's what it is, dude. It's back and forth with the whole thing. It's open and honest, man. And we're allowed to be annoyed with each other. We're allowed to be fully we're about to be human with each other. So with that said, it's all good with you, because it is all good with me, man. Then smoke. Dude, Diego Hernandez, you just email me down. There's a link down below, man. 2 days sober. Congratulations, man. God bless, Tristan, man. God bless. We're here. Links down below, and everybody just use the name tags, and we're all doing the very best we can. Like, look, we're all just doing the very best we can, man. And we're all just here to be a service to each other. So, Stashy, hang in there. Peace. And those who donated to the channel, thank you. Good night.